final area. Away the Nixie team away. Away the Nixie team away. Set general quarters. Set general quarters. General quarters, all hands, ready battle station. General quarters, all hands, ready battle station.
Wow, tonight, Clint and BZ are going to tear through the gristle of today's screaming headlines and rip out the sinewy tendons of truth ensconced within. All from the hoary streets of Sacramento, Fornicalia, exposing the trembling toadies, sniveling jackanapes and fripperous fop-doodles infesting altogether too much of this great nation of ours. Please feel free to partake of our chat room at shrmedia.com, featuring the effervescent Contrarian sackheads Clint, one each, right over there. Plus the unrestrained bulbosity of the Zeppmeister, doubling your late-night conservative talk radio pleasure with double the host. Some contents, by the way, may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included. Jared Cross dotted line. Heco in Mexico. Patent pending, warranty void. Where?
In Montenegro.
Montenegro, thank you very much. Tonight, Clint and BZ will talk about a veritable gaggle. No, a shrewdness, a murmuration, an obstinacy, a warren, a pandemonium, a gaggle, a muster, a covey, an unkindness, a maelstrom, a nod, a shiver, a murder, an intrusion, a smack, a hive, a prickle, yea, a veritable cauldron of topics yonder. Across from me is, in fact, Sackheads Clint, and I'll be your server and somewhat somnambulistic reprobate for tonight. Sorry, we don't take American Express or personal checks. Remember, this is only an exhibition, not a competition, so please, no wagering. I got through it all.
You did.
And for the first time in over a month, 1 month, folks, wow. It is, in fact, Sackheads Clint, present and accounted for. And he is.
And I'm alive.
He is alive. Let's see if I can do this right. Okay. Sackheads Clint is. No.
Am I doing this right?
No.
Is this okay?
No, you got to go the other way. Let's see. Oh, no, there I am. Sackheads Clint is that way on the screen. And if you go that way, if you point that way, there you go.
Okay.
And then you point that way. There is Clint on the right. Wait, it's Clint on the right. And BZ is on the left. Now, yes. Mega apologies, kind of like the former Ron Artest, Mega Metal Man, or whatever the hell he turned his name into. Massive apologies for last night, because essentially Comcast took a dump on us, and everything seems to have perhaps taken a dump into a lot of people's Facebook pages. So
that sounds.
My apologies
that
for
sounds,
that. Spreaker did that. I got to tell you what happened. I had to clean up 2 Facebook pages where Spreaker had dumped 40 different posts of last night's show, each post consisting of anywhere from 17 to like 26 seconds or something like that, 40 times on a couple of Facebook pages. And so I was the cleaner today. I had to go to the SHR Facebook page and remove 40 different posts. 40 different posts. I just kept going, delete. Then I had lunch, came back, delete. Then I had second lunch, delete. Finally got that taken care of. Wow. Okay, so I have to say this. In the process of spooling up the show tonight, though, I looked at the SHR Facebook page and I looked at the SHR YouTube channel, and I have not gotten any screens of death over here, indicating that we're dropping frames. So I think that must be Comcast or whoever's ISP giving the big high one to the Berserk Bobcat Saloon and saying, you know what? I kind of like that SHAT Show. I like that Sackheads Clint. And I'm not sure about that BZ guy, but because Clint is here, we're going to make sure that stuff works tonight.
I have a question for you. So in my travels,
yes,
I'm sure our listeners know I was in Washington D.C. for a period
They
of time.
don't know
and then
where.
I was,
They
they don't. They don't know where I was.
They don't know where you were.
Oh, I was in. Well,
They don't know that you went.
I let the cat out of the bag.
You went a couple of places.
I went a couple of places.
You were very busy.
I was very busy. I sometimes work keeps me busy, but I was very busy. I was in Washington D.C. And then I was in Alabama, but I am back now. You know how awesome it felt being in free America in Alabama? That was amazing. It was amazing. Anyway,
don't know anything about Alabama. When I went back east, and I went to Fletsy and then to Quantico and blah blah blah. Basically, all I got to is I got to Florida. I went to go see some Jags games later on when I went back for some training. But originally, Fletsy is in Brunswick, Georgia, and Georgia is hot as hell in the summertime, extremely humid in the summertime. Florida's the same. And basically the East Coast, when you go to the FBI Academy, blah, blah, blah. So you were in Alabama during the summer, and I see you have made it. So you're still here.
I did look. Actually, it wasn't that bad. There were some spontaneous thunderstorms that came through, and I ended up having to, you have to go into the bunker when that happens.
In Alabama?
Well, yeah. So we'll get thunderstorms that roll through, and where I was, I ended up having to go into a bunker when those rolled through.
Wow.
Yes.
Did you see somebody get zapped with lightning, and the only thing that's left are ash on the grass?
I don't think it was,
and then a little waft of smoke.
I don't think it was the people that was the worry. I think it's some of the other stuff that was the concern. But I think I found now. I didn't know you when you were younger, but I didn't realize, and I think I have to ask if this is you.
Are you talking about the 1800s?
I'm not. No.
Okay.
No. This is legitimate.
Okay.
Until
it isn't.
But exactly. But I have to ask if this is you, and if you were ever a musician. Were you ever? Let me ask you first. Were you ever a musician?
The only time I ever played a music.
Well, hang on a second. Now, hang on. Now, this is very
a one-word answer.
You're gonna because you're gonna start to whoop-de me.
Okay, no, I will tell you the truth. Very briefly,
yes,
I played the blaze.
The blaze.
I played the bass guitar.
Okay, so
for a group.
Okay, so hang on. Stop right there.
Okay,
I think I found a picture of you.
Okay,
from your musician days.
All right.
And I have to ask if this is you.
Okay. Wow. Okay, can I see the other guy? Who's the other guy? Oh, the other guy is Les Claypool. I recognize Les Claypool.
So is this
Les
you?
Claypool is a great bass player.
Is this you?
No, that's a recent picture because I know that happens to be Les Claypool.
That's not a recent picture. This
on
is
the left.
This is not a recent picture. I'll tell you that right now. This is
well,
is
can you
that
tell me?
You?
Okay, no, it isn't. Okay. Oh,
I could have sworn.
Oh, okay, I know who they are. Okay. Well, I got to tell you, the guy in the left looks a lot like Les Claypool.
So if you didn't know who that was, those two guys are Seals and Crofts.
Summer breeze.
Yes.
Makes me feel fine.
Yes. So first of all, yes. So first of all, I discovered on my Pandora 70s classic rock. And some of their stuff has been coming on, and I'm kind of digging it. But then that picture popped up on my screen. I was like, "Holy shit, is that BZ?"
That's him from the 70s. In the 60s,
yeah.
I'd know him anywhere.
Yeah, and I had to ask you. Yeah. So did you know? By the way, in Washington D.C., were you aware? I bet you were, but a lot of people weren't, and there were people walking by. I saw something, and it was kind of like, "Holy shit!" Wow.
How long did you spend in D.C., by the way?
I was there for a little bit of time.
At least a week, right?
Yes, at least a week.
Okay. So you got to see a few things.
I did. And I'll tell you, I actually got to make it out to Mount Vernon. Wow. And I was literally this close to George Washington, his actual, his crypt, it's open, and the concrete sarcophagus where his casket is, where his body is this close.
Yeah.
And Yeah.
D.C., except for the people, is a beautiful place.
Oh, let me tell you, in the Capitol, I was very fortunate to get kind of a behind the scenes tour.
Did they put you in that one spot in the rotunda?
Yeah, the center of the original DC.
Right.
Yeah.
Where
crypts,
where the sound is really strange.
Yeah. So that was John Quincy Adams' desk. So inside the Capitol, you could go to where there's the old House of Representatives chambers. And it's right there with the door that the British came in 1814 when they set fire to the Capitol. Some of the original pillars are still there inside the building where the old Supreme Court is, and it still has some fire damage on it from when the British burned the U.S. Capitol.
Right, and they burned Atlanta.
Yep. But seeing those pillars for the fire damage from then was pretty.
I bet.
But it was pretty. Pretty amazing.
That's a wake up call.
But where John Quincy Adams purposefully, so you can see where Abraham Lincoln's desk was. They have it marked on the floor where his desk was when he was in the legislature, and in the House of Representatives, and they have the spot for John Quincy Adams. And John Quincy Adams chose that spot because the way the acoustics are, with that dome and everything, you could literally hear every word of a regular conversation being had at the other end of the room.
Oh, it's the acoustics in the rotunda are bizarre.
Yeah, but let me tell you. I was very surprised. I went to John F. Kennedy's gravesite.
That too is very moving.
Let me tell you. So, for me. And this is no disrespect against President Kennedy, but for me, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, pretty cool, to see his burial place. But Kennedy, for me, I understand for a lot of people, it's he was assassinated, horrible thing for our country, and so for what that represents, I get it, but in terms of the eternal flame for him, given some of the choices he made and the way that he conducted himself on a personal level in the White House, it didn't have a major impact on me. It really did.
Everybody's got scandal like that, and the reason that I made that mention, of course, is I was living during that time. We got the call in school. Hey, something bad has happened. The buses went outside, and we all got bussed back home, and that's how I remember that.
Yeah, so it didn't it was neat. It was kind of cool to see, interesting from that aspect of it, but it didn't really have an emotional effect like seeing George Washington's gravesite. Right. That and then seeing, when ships, military naval vessels go down the Potomac past Mount Vernon, and Coast Guard ships do it, and they're pretty much the only ones that go down there now. The Navy doesn't really go down there anymore much, but they actually give full honors.
Yes,
as they go past Mount Vernon. And that started shortly after his death when a naval vessel came down and fired a salute off to Martha Washington, who was outside. And the president gave a directive at that point that every naval vessel that goes down the Potomac past Mount Vernon shall give full honors. And that's carried on today.
And thank you, by the way, for my poison tonight. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. But I saw something that was pretty cool, and I took a picture of it. And I heard people wondering out loud, younger people, what this was. And I looked and I saw it, and I was like, I was like, holy shit, that's real. And I stopped and looked, and as people coming by, they looked to see what I'm looking at, and they're like, what's that? They had no idea. They thought it was just part of a video game.
Oh, your camera's on. Show the folks.
Is that okay? Can you see that?
Yeah. Can you back it up a little bit? There you go, so it can focus. Yeah. I don't know if you can see it, folks. I can read it here. I hope you can, too, if you're looking at the video. It says Fallout Shelter. So... Yeah.
That's posted on the side of the Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Many people these days would go, Fallout Shelter? Fallout, that's radiation. Is that where I can find Fallout?
Yeah, is that where I go play the video game?
Yeah,
Fallout? Is that?
They have a lot of game consoles there.
But that is an honest to God, no shit, real Fallout Shelter with a sign posted. In case the fucking Russians launch missiles at us, go in here.
Yeah, I don't think all of D.C. would fit, though.
Yeah, I don't.
Nice try.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't think so either. But yeah, it was interesting. That the time I was able to have some time to go look around a little bit.
I feel like Tootie and Muldoon in Car 54. Where are you?
Car 54. That's a great show.
Oh, it is. Ooh. Did you get to go by the Air and Space?
I did.
Now, was that not one of the finest displays, one of the finest museums you have ever experienced?
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, the Air and Space.
Did they have anything on special, really cool. Or did they have something that they were featuring at the time?
So it was the Apollo 11 lunar landing. It's
capsule.
Well, they have the Apollo 11 capsule is there.
Okay.
But they have a whole special on the Apollo program because
we
landed in
year.
1969.
Right.
2019.
July 20th.
So on July 20th,
be the 50th year.
It will be the 50th.
And hey, I must say this right now. I had a D-Day special while you were gone. I had 2 hours of nothing but history about D-Day. I had tons of audio cuts.
Rachel Maddow was on the show?
Right.
How did you get Rachel Maddow? No, I thought I see the paper right there. Don't draw anything from what you just said to what I just said. I thought I saw a note right there that said you had Rachel Maddow on.
Let me gather my thoughts here for just a second.
Did you see President Trump's D-Day speech?
Yes, and I played that.
Fantastic.
I played
when the left gives you credit.
Speech.
Yeah.
I played. It was a great thing. And
look, when Jim Acosta is raving about a speech that President Trump gives,
yeah,
that should tell you something.
Yeah. Anyway, what I did is I went through the history of World War I up to Pearl Harbor, World War II, and then I led everything up to D-Day, and I wrapped it up on the Affective, and it was a really great show. But I just want to let everybody know that July the 20th, which is a Saturday, I believe, that Thursday night, the 18th, July 18th, I'm going to have a 2-hour 50th anniversary of the moon landing, where I'm going to do the same thing basically that I went through with D-Day. I've got a ton of audio cuts lined up, a ton about the history of the creation. We're going to go through Apollo 1. I had a co-host for D-Day of Kaiser Schuff. You know Kaiser. Mm-hmm. Great dude, and I wanted to get him on because of his military knowledge. And my co-host for the 18th is going to be Dave Milner, the unpleasant blind guy who isn't. Yes,
I think he's very pleasant.
He is blind.
He is very pleasant.
Yeah, I want to emphasize he's blind, but he's not unpleasant.
Right. Well, to the left, he's unpleasant.
Well, that's true. That goes without saying. And then the other thing I just discovered is July the 16th, I was solicited by the PR person for Matthew Betley, who is an author who is coming out with his 4th book now. And I'm going to have him on the show. I got a galley copy, an advance copy for that. So I'm going to have Matt Betley on the show that Tuesday, the 16th, which is the exact same day that his book gets released. So basically, I get first shot interviewing Matthew Betley.
You're going to read it ahead of time?
They're going to send me a galley copy of it.
Excellent.
An advance copy. So anyway, that's what's happening, and you reminded me of that, so I'm sorry.
Are you done bragging about the BZ show for a second? This is the SHAT Show.
Hey, I know.
Are you done?
But I'm just trying to let everybody know.
You lost your time yesterday, and you're trying to. We've been away for a while. I've been gone. I got sent other places, and now I'm back.
You did. Hey, did they have the LEM, the lunar module?
They did.
Did you hear what I just said? What is going on with my mouth?
The LEM.
I said the lunar nodule.
I thought you said module. I heard module. I think BZ's lost his mind.
I'm wondering myself.
Yeah, I don't know, BZ. What's going on with you?
Maybe I'm making up for last night.
I think maybe I showed you a picture of yourself in your youth, and you're denying that in fact, may be you.
So I guess the guy on the left must be SEALs. And so I was apparently a stand-in
for Croft.
on that day when they took the picture.
Yes, perhaps.
Okay, all right, now I get it.
I'm digging that, and maybe it's just the hair and the beard. I don't know.
So let me tell you this: you went to the Air and Space.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to the natural history? Because you can spend at least 2 days in the Air and
Yeah,
Space.
I blazed through. Now I didn't have a whole lot of time.
Okay.
I did have some. So Mount Vernon was my bucket list item. That was my big. For anybody that knows me, I am a huge George Washington.
I'm going somewhere. Did you happen to hit the Iwo Jima Memorial?
I did. I did.
When I first saw that, as opposed to all the photographs that I'd seen previously,
Mm-hmm.
I was absolutely stunned at how big that
it was.
thing is.
Yes.
In photographs, folks, if you haven't seen the Iwo
Mm-hmm.
Jima Memorial, if there isn't somebody standing next to it for perspective, it looks like it's, 10 feet tall or something like that. Oh, no. That thing is huge. And, of course, did you go see Lincoln? The Lincoln Memorial?
Oh, of course, yeah. I saw Lincoln. Lincoln was one I went at night, and I saw.
Oh, that's
Lincoln
when I went
more.
to.
Yeah,
because there were very few people, and if you walk into that place, especially at night, if looking at those words, you don't lose your breath. If those words don't take your breath away, I don't know if you're an American or not. It was spectacular.
and Dave, yes, the LEM was a lunar module that never flew. So yeah, you're right.
Yes, yeah, they didn't bring it back.
Yeah, they don't bring any of them back. They eject them into the atmosphere before the capsule.
Yeah, so anyway, I found it fascinating. And the other thing,
and I'll tell you what, the Martin Luther King Memorial was absolutely fantastic.
Last time I was there, they did not have that.
If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you see it and actually read a lot of the words along the wall and so forth. This is great. Absolutely fantastic memorial as well. You know who does not have a memorial that I was surprised about? Here's a question for you.
World War II was late in coming, but they do finally have one.
Who does not have a memorial? I'll tell you, George Mason has a memorial. George Mason. The founding father, responsible for the Bill of Rights.
Okay.
Hugely outspoken against slavery.
Okay, so
and everything.
I thought for a second there you were talking about the comedian George Mason, who's the brother of Jackie Mason.
No. George Mason, the founder.
From the, let's see, he's either the Vermont Masons or the New Hampshire Masons. I can never remember which one.
Speaking of it, George Washington Masonic Memorial is fantastic. If anybody has a chance to go.
Haven't
fantastic. Yeah, and if you're a Freemason, an even better experience just by some of the stuff that's there. It's absolutely great. So
I'm a Mason, but I started at about $1.95 in the '60s, and now I'm up to $50. What is minimum wage now in some places? 15. So I'm not exactly free, but I am reasonable.
You're reasonable.
Yeah.
Did you know John Adams does not have a memorial? Jefferson, Washington does.
I could believe
Monument.
that John or Sam, neither one do. I can understand that.
Yeah, but John Adams, you would think he would have a memorial. John Adams has no memorial. Jefferson, Washington, George Mason, right? But
you know where this is going.
Go,
folks, and I will tell you. I bet you already have seen all of this, but folks, if you haven't seen the HBO series on John Adams.
Fantastic.
With Paul Giamatti. Oh, my God. That is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant.
Very, very, very well done.
And I was going to throw out, you said John Adams doesn't have anything.
Correct.
And I was going to throw out, because I honestly don't know the answer, is there a Korean War memorial?
Yes, there is.
Oh, is there now?
Yes, there is. So it's the one. What's interesting about the Korean War Memorial is you're walking through, and each of the soldiers, they're kind of they're in their kit, and they're kind of but it looks like no matter where you walk in the Korean War Memorial, one of those soldiers is looking at you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's really neat.
Yeah, it's kind of across the way from the Vietnam Memorial.
Because the last time I was there was for some training and blah, 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 at like 90, man, I'm going to have to think 91, somewhere right around in there. And the Vietnam Memorial was relatively new at the time, and I remember they called it the slash. And a lot of people were still trying to get over it because they hated it. And it's a bit of a slash. It's extremely impressive. People would take their paper there to rub, charcoal or pencil on a name. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That got to me too. It may have been a slash, but it was extremely substantive. It was like everything else that's there. It's extremely moving. Let's see, what other memorials?
So I'll tell you what I did get to see. So
did they have the Washington Monument open?
It wasn't open, no, but you can see it. Very, very impressive. The Pentagon 9/11 Memorial is absolutely amazing.
Didn't see that. Obviously.
I sent you pictures. Remember? I sent
right.
You,
okay.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I did get floor passes for the Senate and for the House. They were actually in session, which was pretty cool. And I got to sit there and I got to watch a vote on cloture for a Ninth Circuit judge that Trump nominated. So that was pretty funny.
I think I told you this, or I sent you a text, because it impacted me this way, and I'm curious if it impacted you this way. When I went to the House, I think, because you can get upstairs, you can't get anywhere near the floor. Unless
you got a floor pass.
Comma. Bastard. So there I was in the balcony of the House and not on the floor.
I didn't say I was on the floor.
But you were close to it. Sort of. Anyway, moving right along. I was impressed by how small it was. It's like going to, I went to an Oakland Raiders. Oh, no, not Oakland Raiders. I went to a Candlestick game. My first 49er game. It was 49ers and Dolphins. And when I got in, it was nothing like the TV shows you.
Yeah, Candlestick was,
the first thing I'm thinking is, man, this is really small in here. This stadium is little winky compared to what you see on TV. That's the same reaction I had when I went to go see the House, and apparently it didn't affect you that way.
It didn't affect me that way, but I know what you're talking about Candlestick, and I used to go see Niner games, and I'd go to Giants games, and it'd be in the baseball configuration.
Yeah.
Right, and I'd sit there, and I'd be like, because I'd go to Oakland games also, I'd be like, okay, so where is right field, and where's the end zones, and where, and I'd try and put it together in my head when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that impact. Honestly, I was just pissed off kind of seeing the House of Representatives, just because I know all the bull crap that goes on in there. I was like, it angered me a little bit, but the people were all very nice. I don't know how anybody goes to DC and doesn't come out of there just appreciating our nation and kind of some of the stuff we've been through and just the history there. And I tell you, like I've said this before, the most impactful experience for me was going to Mount Vernon, and particularly when I stood there at George Washington's crypt, and that impacted me just because I'm such a George Washington fan, and I think we need another George Washington to step up in American politics. Unfortunately, I don't think we ever will.
We got to hit a break. It's the bottom of the hour. And when we come back, we'll start to... I have about 3 stories. First, when we come back, I want to find out if there are any CLINT stories. And then after that, I have some stories to play for CLINT and for everyone that kind of make you think, or they'll make you say, what? Like, what?
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the SHAT Show, the Sackheads Against Tyranny. It's Sackheads CLINT over there, and it's Sackheads right BZ over here. And we were talking about Sackheads CLINT having gone to D.C. And the first thing I wanted to ask is that, do you have any Sackheads CLINT stories? And
my response was,
unfortunately, the response was, no, I don't have any Sackheads CLINT stories.
No, I said none that I can tell.
Okay, well, see, to me, that's the same thing.
I have the stories.
To me, that's the same thing as, no, I don't have any Sackheads CLINT stories, that you can tell. But I do have a couple
that I can't tell
on the air.
Right.
Okay. But I do have a couple of interesting stories that I don't think the folks here have heard. When I saw this one, the first time I read this, and I'm going to Bigfoot myself because I talked about this on Ken's show on Monday, but this is straight out of something that Cubby Broccoli would write. And for those of you who don't know who Cubby Broccoli is, go to your favorite search engine and type his name in there, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. Here's the article from American Military News. North Korea executed a general in a piranha-filled tank in Kim Jong-un's palace, according to a report. Now, folks, a piranha-filled tank, doesn't that smack to you of a James Bond movie?
Close.
Wasn't that
Close.
Was the first thing I had when I thought of this story was, okay, so this general is in front of a desk in a big room in Kim Jong-un's palace, and he's standing on a circle. And my first visual is, dude, don't stand in the circle. Have you never seen any James Bond movies in your damn life?
That is not James Bond. You know what that is? That is Austin Powers. Have you seen Austin Powers?
Yeah, but
Dr. Evil.
There was also a James Bond movie that did that too.
Yes, but Dr. Evil, he wants freaking sharks with lasers. Remember?
Yes, sharks with lasers.
Friggin' Little Kim is Dr. Evil.
Okay, I'm going to read the story, and I've read it a couple of times now where I'm not gobsmacked like I was, and I can actually probably get through it. Kim Jong-un reportedly sentenced one of his generals to death via a tank full of piranhas located right in his own palace. After the general was accused of plotting a coup, okay, well now, he just ratcheted up the seriousity of his offense. Kim ordered the general executed, sending him into a piranha-filled tank. I'm going to take a chance. We have somebody who's calling in. Unknown caller, are you calling in about the piranha-filled tank?
No, I am not.
No piranha-filled tank for you. No piranha-filled tank for you.
Hey, BC. It's fun to actually speak to you.
Who be this?
This is Simone.
The Simone.
Simone.
The Simone has called.
Hello, Simone.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I was responding because you guys were talking about having been to the nation's capital.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
So when I was 16, 17, and again when I was 20, I got a chance to go to Washington, D.C.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Excellent. What'd you think?
It was very overwhelming. It's like a giant city of statues and museums.
Mm-hmm. Did any one particular monument or memorial or museum or anything really kind of affect you or have an impact on you at all?
Yeah. What struck you?
The Jefferson Memorial.
Yeah. Why is that?
Well, when I was that young, I remembered what it said on the inside. I was in college, and my history instructor said I wouldn't have to take the quarter exam if I went on that trip, because I had to go, and I came back and told him what was on the inside of the Jefferson Memorial. So I wrote it down, and I came back and told him, and I was excused from taking a test, so that was kind of fun.
Ooh, very nice.
But I remember it was very humid.
Oh, you went in the summer then?
One time I went in the summer, yes, and it was like, I want to say it was like 90 degrees, but it was like 80% humidity, 70% humidity. It was very humid.
Yeah. It was hot. I think I don't know. I think I dropped a few pounds, just being there. But yeah, it was one of those things where you walk out the door in the morning. And
that'd be Alabama. Alabama would sure as heck do that.
I'll tell you what, Washington D.C. was actually more humid than Alabama, at least during the times that I was
really?
There. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because your stuff was, well, no, it wasn't back to back, was it?
Yeah,
your
it was
Alabama
back-to-back.
trip and your D.C. trip.
It was back to back. Yeah.
And D.C. was as humid as Alabama.
It was a little bit more so.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit more so.
Okay.
I had really long hair when I was young, and I remember washing my hair, and I was born and raised in California, so I was used to having my hair dry overnight.
Uh-huh.
And so that didn't happen in Washington, D.C.
Now, did it curl? Yeah, was there a little bit of curl to it?
No, I washed it, and it stayed wet all through the night and all through the day when I was walking around. I actually had to use a blow dryer on it to get it dry.
Wow. Yeah. Now, how long did you spend in D.C. each time?
I spent a week when I was 16. I belonged to a youth organization like Future Farmers, but it wasn't that one.
Okay.
And we had a march downtown through, through those monuments, and then we went and spent some time with our elected officials, and we're hitting them up for supporting vocational education funding, and that's why I was actually there for that one.
Oh, so did you go to either the House or the Senate, or did you go to the OEO, the Old Executive? What is it? The OEOB, the Old Executive Office Building.
That was so long ago. I don't remember. I see Dave Milner is asking if it was VICA. Yes, it was VICA, the Vocational Industrial Clubs of America. Yes, I was the state president when I was in high school.
Dave. Wow.
And then a few years later, when I went in college and went to the Jefferson Memorial, I was the national parliamentarian of VICA.
Wow. Oh, good for you.
Now, did you go to any of the other monuments? Did you go see the Lincoln Memorial, anything like that? Did you happen to get into the Washington Memorial? Because, again, when I was there, I couldn't.
I did not see the Washington Memorial because they had us chaperones pretty tight. In fact, since it's many years ago, so the, the statute of limitations is gone. Nixon was president at the time. And all of us national officers were scheduled to have a special tour of the White House.
Oh, wow.
So the doorway where you see that on TV, the doorway is covered and there's steps, and that's where they go to parties, and you beat the Secret Service guys there at the door and they pat you down. Mm-hmm. So here we were, a bunch of us, and there was a African-American officer. I think he was like the national treasurer. Funny guy, great sense of humor. And we're all standing on the steps, getting ready to be admitted while our chaperones were inside getting our passes. And we were going to get the private tour, not the general public tour. So the kid from Ohio makes two peace symbols and shakes his head with his lips loose. And 2 seconds later, we were escorted off the property.
Imagine that.
Yep.
Yeah, that didn't play during Nixon's time very well.
Did you all thank him for messing up your private tour of the White House?
Oh, yeah, we did. Well, all of us got punished at the same time because our chaperone was from the Marines, and so, if one messed up, we all messed up.
Yep.
and so we missed out on a couple of other tours because of that event. And,
oh, damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Wow. Did he have any regret, or was he apologetic at all, or was he just a jerk and just a little punk about it?
Big old moron.
Yeah.
Well, even though I was in college, I wasn't very worldly, and I'm sure he had his own beliefs as to why he did that. I didn't ever talk to him about it. I'm assuming he didn't like Nixon. But, to me, it was just the president. It was kind of an honor to be at such an unusual place and get a special tour, which, I never got.
Yeah.
Hey, Simone, I'm going to make you feel better.
Okay.
Because I want to tell you that guy right now is a heroin addict in downtown Miami.
Oh, the guy from Ohio?
Yeah, the guy that kicked you off got you kicked out of there. So, okay, so... it's like what goes around comes around. So that's what he's doing in life right now. I just thought I'd tell you so you feel a little bit better.
Well, I have a quick story, and then I'll get off the air so that other people can call in. But when I was the state president of this VICA organization, the governor at the time was Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
And so we all got to go in and have a photo op with him. And he had his own security detail there, and we had to leave our briefcases outside, and they patted us down. And again, I was oblivious to, who he really was other than the governor. And I remember walking in and waiting for my turn to have a photograph, and I was standing next to his desk, and he had a bowl of candy, and I looked at it, and very nice man. Ronald Reagan was very paternal, just really nice, great voice. And he saw me looking at his candy, and he goes, "Oh, go ahead, help yourself." So I grabbed a handful of candy and threw it in my pocket. Then I was just munching them away. So I didn't realize that jelly beans were his thing. That was, so I don't even have any souvenirs of that. But I do have 2 business cards. He had just come back from a trip to China, and he had business cards printed in Chinese. And when they went to China, they forgot to take those cards with them, so he was trying to get rid of them. So we got his regular business card, and then we got one in Chinese.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, okay. If you can read Mandarin.
Yeah, but that's a pretty cool piece of history.
Yeah, and it's a pretty cool story because who else would walk into Governor Reagan's office downtown in Sacramento and steal Jelly Bellies off his desk?
Yeah, and it wasn't just a few. When he said help myself, I was.
I bet you did. When
I grabbed a big handful and threw them in my pocket, and I'm chewing on the jelly beans while they're taking our picture because we posed with him.
I'll tell you what, I guarantee you he told that story for the rest of his days. I guarantee that you were the topic of conversation at the White House with other heads of states.
I remember the day that this chick came in from Vica.
Yes,
she was
absolutely.
She was in college and she's going through this thing. I swear to God, she took half my Jelly Bellies.
Well, with Governor Reagan, I was in high school, so I was just a little slip of a thing there, but. It's just funny, looking back and how, 16-year-olds today are much more worldly than I was when I was 16. So when you ask about the guy in Ohio with his, Nixon peace things, they were all much more, worldly than me.
Well, like I say, the consolation prize, Simone, and thanks for calling in, is that
thank you very much.
He's a heroin addict on the streets of Miami today.
We believe.
Yeah. Well, we have good information.
And keep up the good work, both of you. I really enjoy listening to you guys on the air, and I love the chat room. I have to say I've been in a couple of other podcast chat rooms, and this chat room is the friendliest, kindest, funnest chat room. So hello to everybody in chat.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Simone.
Thanks for calling.
Pleasure talking to you.
Well, that was very nice.
Appreciate
that.
That was awesome. I like it when our regular listeners call in and I can actually put a voice to
somebody that you see
somebody
in the chat
that
room.
I see in the chat room all the time. Yeah, that we say hi to, but there's no interaction. So I really enjoy that. I enjoy that part of what we do.
I think that's great. Okay.
So I want to talk about a story because I read something, and I'm actually going to get down to business now. I apologize, but we've been 40.
We got a second call.
We got a second caller.
We got a second call.
Okay.
Go ahead. Second caller.
Hello, guys.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, it's Dave Milner.
Yes, it is. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Yeah, it's almost tomorrow on the right coast, and I just say okay. That was a tough act to follow, Simone. First of all, never heard your voice before.
Yeah, it was. She's got a great
the
voice.
Reagan jelly bean. Yeah, that's a tough act to follow.
Especially with the Reagan jelly bean story, you can't.
Yeah, stealing. No. How cool is it stealing Jelly Bellies off of Reagan's
They didn't have
desk?
Jelly Bellies back then, did they? I think they were regular jelly beans.
Well, it could be,
Yeah,
but he was famous for
beans.
Jelly
Yeah,
Bellies.
you're thinking of like Jelly Bellies or even Jelly Babies. Which,
Yeah.
is this weird jelly bean type candy they have in the UK that's shaped like babies, and it's like, okay,
That's
I don't
weird.
know
That
what
is
twisted
really
logic there was
weird.
that made them make that stuff, but I digress. DC, yeah, I went there a few times.
We got a second call, by the way. Whoever is calling in next, hang on, and we'll get to you next. Or after Dave is gone, call back. But I can't put 2 calls on the air. But I see a second call, so don't go away. Don't give up. Dave is talking. We'll get to you next. I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Now, people will get that if they listen to the English Defense League radio show.
That's right. I got it.
Anyway, I was I've been to D.C. 3 times, and I went with a civil rights organization I belonged to, called the National Federation of the Blind. They have no affiliation whatsoever with what I do now. I always have to make sure that I say that. And we were going there to D.C. to lobby. So we took a lot of us took time out, especially if we'd never been, to go to the museums and the memorials and this is then that is right.
Okay.
I did go to the Air and Space Museum, and the biggest thing that impressed me, and we'll talk more about this on the 18th of July.
Okay.
Yes, we will. Was one of the engines that they had from the Saturn V that launched Apollo 11. Clint, was that there when you were there?
The engine was not, but I'll tell you, when I was in Alabama, I was in Huntsville, Alabama. There's a couple things in Huntsville. Obviously, the Redstone Arsenal is there, but I did have the opportunity to go also to the Air and Space Museum, which is in Huntsville, and they have a Saturn V rocket there at the Air and Space Smithsonian.
Amazing.
Yeah, they have the Saturn V rocket. They also have the shorter rocket that launched the earlier Apollo missions.
The 1B.
The 1B that did Apollo all the way up to 8, I believe, right?
Yeah, 8 or 9, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But yeah, that engine, those engines, what are they? The J2s?
Yeah,
F1.
Like F1.
Those engines are unreal in terms of their size.
I went to Florida to a NASA facility when I was going to Disney World or something like that, and there was a Saturn rocket laid down horizontally in this massive room. I have never seen, except for a cruise ship, for example. I have never seen a larger artifact than the Saturn V missile.
I really don't think people have
horizontally.
Yeah,
you have
unless you've
no
seen
idea
it. Unless you've seen it firsthand, it is absolutely impressive.
God, it is
it's all about scale. It reminds me kind of the first time I went to see the Continental Divide in Colorado, but I won't go there. The engine,
you already went there.
Is big enough, people, to where, if you wanted to, you could get inside it and pitch a tent. Okay, that so there was that, and of course, I got to touch the moon rock, and there was of course the Mercury.
That's a euphemism.
Spacecraft and things like. Loved that. I got to go inside. I kind of joke and call it the Washington phallus, but I actually did get to go inside the Washington Monument and go all the way up.
Nice.
And it's a very cool view from there. You get to see everything. The elevator was a bit rickety at the time, too, I remember.
Oh, I'm sure.
Then again, a lot of things were going under renovation. We're talking about the early 90s here. And
they're under renovation again because of an earthquake a few years ago, I guess. Actually cracked a lot of those things.
That's right, the Washington Monument.
Man.
Yes.
That is an earthquake-prone area.
I forgot about that.
But I did not get to go, sadly, to the Jefferson Memorial. I always wanted to make it there, but again, that was being renovated. And I did get to go to the Vietnam Memorial, and I was very critical of it before I went to it. I thought, like so many other Vietnam veterans,
they called it the slash.
So many Vietnam veterans did. It's a hole in the ground. It's disrespectful until I visited it. Yeah. And then that changed my mind. It will change your mind. It's way more than it appears to be. If a place has a presence, that one is it. And of course, went to the Lincoln Memorial. There's a place with a lot of presence as well. Didn't go at night though, Clint. You beat me on that one. I'd love to do that. I went during
absolutely
the day.
Beautiful.
It was pretty awesome. And I think I didn't get to go to nearly the Smithsonian museums I'd like to go. I mean, I would love to go to, first of all, the Library of Congress.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
you went. I never did. You did.
Smithsonian. Yeah, the Natural History Museum. I'd love to do that. Spend like a week or two in D.C. and just go through the Natural History Museum and check it out. But before I leave you guys and give somebody else a chance, I want to talk about something you may still be able to take advantage of. You could when I was there, but remember, this is over 25 years ago. In the Longworth House office building, okay, this is the office building that holds a lot of House members, okay, the oldest one, by the way. There is a commissary that is on either the first floor or the in the basement. It's in one of those. I can't remember quite which one it is now. But there's a directory there. You can find it. And the cool thing about this place,
the commissary,
is that this is where a lot of the employees, a lot of the congressional employees eat and stuff like that, because a couple things. It's cheap, for one thing. None of the food there is taxed, and if you're a smoker, and I don't know if you can still get this deal, but if you're a smoker, you can buy cigarettes there too, without being taxed. It's usually only open, what is it, like for breakfast? I think it opens at maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, and it shuts down right at about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. But you can eat there. The food is really good. The food is cheap, and the staff is friendly. And there was a lady who worked there who used to call everybody sweetie and honey and stuff like that when they went through the line. She was always a delight to see and talk to. And I was incensed about 10 or so years ago to hear that she had been let go from there because of that quote unquote behavior. Just because she was being nice to people and giving that Southern hospitality. I was really incensed to hear that she had been let go from that. But aside from that, guys, if you're in D.C. and you want to eat cheap, and trust me, you want to find cheap ways to get your nourishment in that place, do give that commissary a look. Longworth House office building.
So I did have the opportunity to eat in the cafeteria of the legislative building.
Did you really?
There. Which the food wasn't. It was actually pretty good food and very 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 reasonable. But Dave, you mentioned the Washington Monument, and a lot of people may not know this, and I'm sure you do. But inscribed on the cap piece, the top stone of the Washington Monument. Facing to the east are the words Laus Deo, which is Latin, and a lot of people. And what that means in Latin, it means "Praise be to God." And because nobody can see the cap piece, they're used to. And again, this was closed when I went because of the retrofit. But there was a reproduction of the capstone in the museum area,
so you could see it there.
So you could see it. And there's an inscription, and I wanted to see under the Obama administration, the inscription. I believe it was under the Obama administration. The inscription was turned towards the wall and pushed the capstone was kind of pushed against, so you couldn't see Laus Deo, praise be to God, on the caput. Yep. Yes, and the National Park Service actually changed the plaque in the year 2000. The plaque read this, quote, "Apex of the monument reproduction. The builders searched for an appropriate metal for the apex that would not tarnish and would act as a lightning rod. They chose one of the rarest metals of the time, aluminum. The casting was inscribed with the phrase Laus Deo, praise be to God." After that, the National Park Service censored that last sentence. And the reading prior to the closure.
In 2000, they censored.
In 2000, that's what it read.
Oh, okay.
At some point after that,
after 2008?
Yes, I believe so. But the inscription read, the builders searched for an appropriate metal for the cap that would not tarnish and would act as a lightning rod. They chose one of the rarest metals of the time, aluminum.
Common practice.
Period.
Yeah.
And in addition, the replica of the cap, which is in the monument, has been positioned so close to the wall that the wording Laus Deo could not be read. Prior to the censorship by the National Park Service, the replica wording could be read. Snopes actually fact-checked that, and they said, nope, absolutely, that is true. So I wanted to go and verify that and see what the current position is to see what it was. A lot of people don't even know that's on the cap piece,
No,
but it's
I had
praise
no
be to
idea.
God facing the heavens. And yeah, that was, so I was unable to check that, but
we're going to have to go to a break. When
All
we
right.
come back, I have even more stories to regale.
Do we have a caller as well?
We may have one when we come back. So if there's somebody else that's going to be calling in, call in after the break. That is Sackhead's, that is Contrarian CLINT over there. And I am the Bulbous BZ, and you're listening to the Sackheads Against Tyranny. It's a real SHAT Show.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplanestalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny, and we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
SHAT.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday nights, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
Yep. SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. You know, we talked about this for, for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Kind of a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, sackheads against tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
What's the second hour of the SHAT Show? The Sackheads Against Tyranny. I'm the Bulbous BZ. Yonder is Contrarian CLINT. We are broadcasting in the SHR Media Network studios.
In occupied California.
You could say that. You're stealing,
I did say that.
You're stealing my line, but that's okay. Steal away.
No, you say behind enemy lines.
And it is occupied.
It is occupied
California.
I was in free America, so
for
being back here, yeah. So being
not for long,
not for long yet.
Then you had to fly back here.
I did
into this monotheist state.
Fortunately, it's not hard to come into California. Just ask people south of our border.
Oh, yeah.
What? They get free health care now, BZ.
Oh, you know,
they're going to vote. They're going to vote on that. Never mind. It hasn't passed yet. They're going to vote on that.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, that's a nail biter as to how that's going to go, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you're not from California and you don't know what we're talking about, Governor Gavin Newsom and the California State Legislature have come to an accord to agree to. I believe it's going to cost $98 million per year.
I heard,
and they're
over
going to
110.
Yes, but they're saying 98, so we'll give them 98.
All right, because it'll go.
Don't be such a hateful little man.
Oh,
we'll give them 98.
The
we'll give them
high-speed
98.
rail, that we had.
Totally different project, BC. So we'll give them 98 on this one. Yeah, I'm sure this one will be just fine. But they're going to give criminal aliens free health care.
Because why shouldn't
through
they?
Medi-Cal, free health care. And you know who's going to pay for it? People that don't have insurance.
Not them.
No, people that don't have insurance.
No, that's true.
This is true. They are going to tax.
Isn't that a beautiful
people that
thing?
Don't have insurance.
So,
who else tried this?
Yeah. So, folks, if you haven't qualified under ACA, and the ACA is it's not really working real well these days.
Well, that
guess
was
what?
Stripped out. The individual mandate was not the individual, but that tax was stripped out, right? Well, California's going to do it now.
Right. So if your health care, for whatever reason, and there could be a myriad reasons, if your health care in California sucks.
For example, it's through a private insurance company.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it sucks according to the state, even though you might like it.
Right. Yeah, but that's okay. You can't have it. You can't have it. And they know better than you anyway.
Yes, they do.
So your taxpayer dollars are going to fund not your health care, because as far as the state of California is concerned, screw you. It's going to illegals who have claimed asylum or have gotten their ankles damp or slightly moist during the crossing of the Rio Grande, or they've just gone through, they've been bused or trained through. And these days, it's what great news. These days, people are coming through from Congo.
Yeah, well, what could possibly happen?
Yeah, and Congo is where there's a current Ebola break. But come on, let's not talk about that.
Well, let's not talk about the fact that the plague is present in Los Angeles, California.
Right, and let's not talk about the fact that there are 7 LAPD officers that are operating. They've acquired typhoid now.
Yes. Well, did you see the one that has the plague? I'm talking, folks. I'm not making this up. I'm talking the plague, the 14th century.
Yeah, we've got
disease that killed
millions of people in Europe is now back.
Present in California,
and it's carried on rats, rodents. Things of that nature, on ticks, on fleas.
Through these homeless encampments that are set up everywhere and disgusting.
Great times.
Cops are dealing with these people. Regular people are walking through the sidewalks and walking through this stuff. There is no rodent control program in Los Angeles.
There is.
Folks,
can you imagine this? There is none. There is no rodent, because why would there be?
But it's okay.
It's Los Angeles.
It's okay.
They never had a rodent
Gavin
problem.
Newsom is forming a commission. I'm sure it'll be fine. We need more government.
Oh, we need more commissions. Come on, because commissions have solved as many things.
Every problem.
Every damn time.
That
okay, mystery caller, who is this?
This is Mike.
What's going on, Mike?
Mike Pasqua, how do you do?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Just for a second, I want to go back to the story about the piranha execution.
Yes.
Right.
By Lil Kim.
Right.
Can you imagine if there was a discreet phone call made from Washington to Lil Kim? All that would have to be said on his phone call would be, hello, Lil Kim, I wish I could do that click, and that would be Orange Man Bad, BZ.
It would be.
Phone call.
It would be, OMB. I should think that you would be happy, Mike, to know that the tank in question, or what we call the TIQ, the tank in question is filled with hundreds of, and this is important, hundreds of Brazilian piranhas.
Oh.
And so before the general was thrown in, this is also very salient, very important point here. Before the general got dunked in the tank with hundreds of Brazilian piranhas, officials used knives to slice open his arms and his torso. But the story, I am not making this up, Clint. The story actually says this, but it's not known whether his death was immediately caused by the wounds, the fish, or the drowning. Well, let's see. Let's imagine you're that guy, and you've had your arms cut and your torso cut, and I'm sure your main worries are, let's see, am I going to die because I will bleed out, or will I die because I'll be chewed to the bone by Brazilian fish, or will I die because of drowning? Oh, that's right, I hate water. God, I can't. I'm going to drown. That's the worst thing that he's thinking of right now. This is right out of a Bond movie.
That's the thing, fellas. But, I mean, think about it. Orange Man Bad is in the middle of his own soft coup, and he's thinking, damn it, man, I wish I would have thought of that.
Yeah. I got another great story coming up. Thank you, Mike.
Right,
thanks, Mike.
Appreciate it, sir.
Take
You're
care.
going to love this second story. This is great. Did you know that Honda makes a lawnmower that can go 100 miles an hour, and it can go... it can reach 100 miles an hour in 6 seconds.
On grass?
I don't know about that. All I know is that Honda makes a lawnmower. It's a lawnmower that has a need for speed. Honda's super...
Why would you want to go 100 miles per hour on a lawnmower, particularly on grass?
I'm looking at a picture of it right here. You know what?
That seems like the stupidest thing.
They call it Honda's Mean Mower V2. And it recently broke the Guinness World Record for the fastest accelerating lawnmower. Okay, so
is this going to be like available on the market, or is this just something they did as a pet project?
I think it's a pet project. So I just took a picture of it, and I'm going to show you. Let's see, on the screen here. Let me cut to this. Okay, so here's the world's fastest lawnmower. So if you're watching on video...
Photo courtesy of...
BZ.
Okay.
So there it is, the fastest lawnmower, and it's kind of car-ish, but it's also lawnmower-ish because apparently it looks like it has some kind of a catcher in the back as well. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Stunt driver Jess Hawkins took the modified grass cutter from 0 to 100 miles an hour at an average of 6.29 seconds on May 6th, just not too terribly long ago, well, over a month ago. Near Dresden, Germany, the company said...
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. She had to record the same run in both directions, taking the average acceleration as the record time. So looking at this, it's not on grass, it's on some kind of a road.
That's bullshit.
So, yeah, maybe
that's
it is.
bullshit. Honda, that's bullshit.
Maybe it is cheating.
You made a freaking go-kart. You didn't make a lawnmower. You made a fucking 100-mile-per-hour go-kart. Big deal. You want to impress me, make a go-kart, put it on some grass, make it go 0 to 106 seconds, and cut some grass, and then I'll give you credit for the fastest lawnmower. Otherwise, you made a go-kart. I'm not impressed.
Okay. Well, I just throw it out there. Thought I'd throw it out there. Here's another
And I
story.
figured I was going to talk shit to Honda. I hope Honda's listening right now. That's stupid. That's the stupidest thing I heard.
Have you ever bought a Honda? Did you ever have a Honda?
God, no.
I wanted
other than a 50, like a little Honda 50. Yeah, their little dirt bikes are great.
Oh, I had Honda motorcycles.
Yeah, Honda motorcycles for sure. But
I never had a Honda car. Here's a story that now we're going to the serious stuff. It only took us an hour and 15 minutes to get here.
Jesus, fuck! I've been freaking waiting. I got shit to talk about, BZ. It's been a month.
You know what? Screw it. Let's stop with that story right there. You haven't been here for a while, so let's go with your story. What do you got for a story?
First of all, I have a breaking news. Hell froze over.
You told me about this during the break, right?
Yeah, I don't know if people know this or not, but hell froze over. Senator Ted Cruz and Democratic Representative AOC have teamed up on legislation. Have you heard this?
No.
This is a 100%.
It's legit. You're saying it's legit.
Yes.
It's too legit to quit.
It is. Yes, too legit to quit. So if you haven't heard this, they've teamed up on legislation, and it came about. I don't remember who tweeted who first or whatever, but I think AOC was talking about putting out legislation about preventing members of Congress from becoming lobbyists.
Oh, right.
Well, Ted Cruz basically came back and said, "Hey, if you're willing to do a clean bill, I'll support this with you."
Okay, now clean bill.
Clean
folks,
bill meaning
no writers, just that. Yeah, nothing else.
No partisan BS slipped in here or there.
Stupid
just
attachments.
A clean bill. And she said, if you're serious about a clean bill, I'm down. So they're actually teaming up on legislation.
I think that's a great idea.
I disagree with AOC on most things.
Well, I disagreed with Obama. When Obama did something right, though, I gave him kudos.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a bill I could get. I don't care if it was a Democrat or Republican that came up with the idea. In this case, it was a Democrat. In this case, it was AOC.
I'll go along with that.
But I agree with that. With that. Members of Congress should not become fucking lobbyists.
No, they should.
And I would also agree with, although I think it would take a constitutional amendment, but I would agree with the constitutional amendment prohibiting anybody who was a lobbyist with running for Congress. I would be okay with that also. I think it would be appropriate to do both ways. But AOC came out, and so AOC came out, and she had this tweet, and I think this came out today, and she said, "Psst, birth control should be over the counter. Pass it on." Ted Cruz came back and said, "I agree." This is via Twitter. "Perhaps in addition to the legislation we are already working on together to ban members of Congress from becoming lobbyists, we can team up here as well. A simple, clean bill making birth control available over the counter. Interested with a question mark." So it's first. So I say hell froze over, but I was actually kind of this story kind of made me smile. Not because it's Ted Cruz and not because it's AOC, but because you have two people literally on polar opposite ends of the spectrum that have found common ground. And not just on two opposite ends of the spectrum, but in two different houses of Congress. The House of Representatives, obviously, and the Senate. One sponsoring being a Democrat whose party controls the House, and the other from the Senate sponsoring being a Republican whose party controls the Senate. So there's actually a possibility to get some bipartisan stuff done here. I was very happy to hear this. I know you can agree or disagree with birth control, whether it should be over the counter or not, and you can have that debate, and that's fine. I personally don't have a problem with birth control being over the counter. Particularly with a lot of the abortion legislation that's being passed and coming around today. And my stance on abortion is pretty straightforward. I do not agree with abortion as a form of birth control. I believe, as a matter of fact, Roe v. Wade, if I'm not mistaken, somebody in the chat room can fact check me on this because I'm talking off of memory here. But I believe in Roe v. Wade. There was even something in there when the Supreme Court ruled on this that essentially gave leeway. Hey, if science indicates that there's life, then obviously, and they don't say obviously, then life would have priority, or that individual life would have priority as the right to life, and so forth. So I believe with these heartbeat legislation bills and understanding what we do about life, and if cessation of heart activity is classification for death, then it's only logical that the beginning of heart or cardiac activity would mean life.
Is indicative of life, exactly.
In which case, under that Supreme Court ruling in Roe v. Wade, I believe these if I'm recalling this correctly, then I believe that these heartbeat laws are 100% not only constitutional, but in line with the Supreme Court Justice's writing of Roe v. Wade.
Yep.
And if that's the case, then I believe over-the-counter access to birth control makes sense. If you really don't want to have a child and abortion is your answer, which, again, I disagree with on a moral level because of the right to life and everything else, except for extreme cases, then I believe over-the-counter birth control should absolutely be easier to obtain. I mean, gosh, look at some of the stuff we put in our bodies now that can be very harmful, particularly over time, right? Tylenol, the acetaminophen and ibuprofens and things that can be hard on your liver and all this other stuff.
Smoke dope in California.
Isn't
this the weird conundrum about California? I see that you do too. Clint and I live in California. We see PSA, public service announcements, on various cable channels where the state of California says secondhand smoke and cigarette smoke is bad for you.
Tax the shit out of cigarettes.
10 minutes later, you'll find a local advertisement about your local dope store. Oh, and by the way, we deliver.
Yes. 100% accurate. That is 100% accurate.
Mixed messages, anyone from the state of California okaying dope, but saying that cigarettes are terrible.
You know why, BZ? Because marijuana is not run by big tobacco or big corporations.
Yeah, well, guess
That's
what?
Why.
In California, as I can tell you stories, because I know someone who knows someone. And in the state of California, basically all these little mom and pop dope areas and all these people that have decided they're going to attempt to comply with the law, except when various licenses may cost you up to $75,000. And there are numerous licenses that you have to get. And the California regulations for cannabis are incredibly off the charts. And of course,
it's like it has to be from the female plant. It has to be a minimum of 33% THC. I'm kidding, by the way. I'm kidding.
There is a minimum THC.
Oh, I know, but my 33% was a little.
Each plant has to be tagged. They have to know where. And there are numerous regulations.
I'm sure everybody's complying.
The state of California. You're right. The state of California can't sell ice in hell, for example.
Yeah.
And so all these people that wanted to comply with the law are being forced out of it because they can't compete, they can't pay the freight for it. So, as you said, you know who's coming into the state of California? The only people that can afford all that stuff?
The cartels.
The big corporations.
Oh, and the cartels.
And probably the cartels as well, under various corporate names.
Yep.
So
anyways,
thanks, California. Thank you for that.
Again, thank you. But to get back to my original point, I was that is a story that actually made me kind of I don't want to say hopeful, I guess.
Maybe a little hopeful.
Maybe a little hopeful, right?
The lobbyist thing?
I smiled.
Oh, that's...
Like, I was...
You bet.
I was actually okay, you know what? Good for both of them. Good for both of them. Because, that's going to bode well for them. It's going to bode well for both of them politically. But I think that's actually... that's... regardless of who's going to benefit politically or not, it seems like those two individuals are able to come together and find common ground. And gosh, maybe it will literally be Ted Cruz and AOC two people that each side's really despises the most, right? I'm sure AOC's fan base really despises Ted Cruz over most thing, and vice versa. Yeah, but how funny would it be if those two could actually come together and show, hey, look, we can actually work together on some stuff. We can find common ground in some areas, so let's work on areas that we can actually find common ground on. What a fucking concept.
Hey, do you remember
And the fact
this?
that she is on board with this, it just I'm not singing her praises, but you know what? I'm going to give her credit when she does something that is absolutely positive. And Ted Cruz also.
I gave props where props are due.
Yep, absolutely.
Obama went after OBL. Okay, I dig it. I get
Yeah.
it. There's a lot of stuff that I hated.
Great father.
And it
It appears to be anyways,
It didn't
right?
have anything to do with his paint job. It was about his policies and his philosophies. But in terms of this lobbyist thing, do you remember, Clint, what Paul Ryan said when just before he retired?
He's going to go be a lobbyist.
He was going to go be a lobbyist. Imagine that. So, I mean, in terms of this bill, which I hope to get through, blow me, Paul Ryan.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
So
literally,
screw-
literally, Paul Ryan. If you're listening, you can come to Sacramento. You could come to the SHAT Show, the SHR Studios, and if BZ's here, I'm sure he would actually let that happen.
Sure,
I'm guessing.
Sure, and if I'm gone, Sackhead Sean might be here.
Yeah.
And so
I won't let that
late-
happen.
Yeah, late at night, if you hear, well, I'm going to have to warn Sean that if, at 11 o'clock at night, he hears, and
It
he
might be
opens
Paul
it up,
Ryan.
and it's some guy with dark hair, and maybe, I don't know if he still has his beard. He grew his beard for a little bit,
Did
then
he?
he shaved it off, then he got it back. So, hey, Sean, if you're listening,
Yeah.
Paul might have his beard back.
We
case.
just invited him.
Yeah, and we
just
kind of invited
over.
him.
Yeah.
I guess we kind of invited him.
We invited him.
Yeah, I guess we did. And so, Sean, just beware, just in case.
So good.
I think
good,
that's going to be a great bill.
So-
I would. Oh my God, yes.
Good on AOC. Good on Senator Cruz. That's good stuff to hear, and I'm encouraged that two people from opposite ends of the spectrum can find common ground in something, and talk about clean bills. You know what? Every bill coming out of Congress should be a clean bill.
I didn't see this. See,
every bill should be a clean bill. This is the issue. This is what we're going to do about it. Clean bill.
It's funny you should mention that. I started a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I started what I called the Realist Party. And I actually had a website for it. And basically what I said was truth in bills, no writers. That was one of them. Number 2, tort reform, loser pays. Number 3 is truth in budgeting. That is to say, if a particular bill or an act says that X number of dollars will be placed into this fund, then you can't touch that money. That money goes into that fund, and it never mixes with general fund money.
Mm-hmm.
So, truth in bills. And lobbyists? Oh, hell yeah. I am all over that. That is a wonderful idea. Do you have any other stories? Oh, wait, no. No. Can you squeeze one in 2 more minutes?
I can squeeze one in 2 minutes.
Okay.
So about a month ago, like 3.5 weeks ago, the Trump administration, not the Trump administration, but they federal government under the Trump administration came to California, and they said that they are withdrawing almost $1 billion in federal money from California's high-speed rail project.
Yes, loved it. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, and of course, Newsom went nuts when he heard that.
Lost his mind. The Federal Railroad Administration announced that they were not going to give California $620,000 that was originally promised because the state has, quote, repeatedly failed to comply with the terms of the grant, quote, failed to make reasonable progress on the project, and, quote, abandoned its original vision for the train from Los Angeles to San Francisco.
Let me tell you something about grants that folks may not know, because I was on the periphery of a grant, and you can get in trouble. We had a guy who initially worked for Elk Grove before it was incorporated, who was working on a grant from the federal government. Well, when you get a grant from the federal government, there are strings. And you also have to make reports. And these reports are due in a timely fashion. And if you don't meet the goals of the grant can and will be stripped. And he didn't keep up with the goals, and he got in trouble with the federal government. So that is in keeping with everything else that I happen to know about grants and the federal government. If you have a grant given to a law enforcement agency and they're not keeping things straight and they get their grant removed and they get in trouble, that should be the same thing that's applicable to Gavin Newsom and his cabal at 10th and L Street.
You know what? I don't know why, honestly. Well, there's a lot of questions there, but I know we're up against a break, so let's take our final break, come back, and we got some more topics.
We do, and we're going to be right back, folks, right after this. Okay?
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever,
because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny, and we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights. Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
Yep. SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. Insidious. You know, we talked about this for, a good, for the last 3 years. And finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Kind of a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, sackheads against tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Well, it's the final 25. The final 25 minutes here on the SHAT Show, the Sackheads Against Tyranny. I am Sackheads BZ, and across from me is Sackheads CLINT, and we are the Sackheads Against Tyranny. It is truly a SHAT show, and also thanks to all the people that are in the SHAT room tonight. See what we did there with SHAT room and not chat room. So thanks again to Simone for being on and calling. Thanks to Dave for calling. Thanks to Mike for calling. Thanks to Simone, Mike, Alaskan, Dave, one viewer for being here tonight after the show took a massive dump courtesy of Comcast last night.
We think Comcast.
We're pretty sure it's Comcast. I don't think it was Spreaker, and I don't think it was Facebook, because all of those platforms were involved last night.
Hey, have you seen the push in Illinois from the Illinois Republicans at the state legislative level? They are trying to push the city of Chicago out of the state of Illinois.
Oh, I heard something about that.
And to make the Chicago the 51st state, essentially turning Illinois red again. They said you have this concentration of, they don't say wing nuts, but basically wing nuts. Right, in the city of Chicago, causing all kinds of problems for everybody else in the state. And they say, listen, why don't we just make Chicago the 51st state? And there's a real push for this. And it's not like they can just do it. Congress has to approve it, and obviously there's a process for that. But the fact that they're talking about this is hilarious to me.
Well, that goes back to the original thing about California, and it's kind of off the radar now. But last year, there was a little bit of a push to break California into 3 states.
Yes.
And if you looked at the people that were actually pushing this, it wasn't all the conservatives that you would think it was. It turns out were a number of leftist-funded people for this specific reason, because if you break California into 3 states, then, Clint, I know you know this, what's one of the first things that you have to do when you create another state?
2 senators.
There you go. And then you get some more representatives. And a question for everyone, and Clint, you don't count because I know you know the answer, but
okay.
Just where do you think all of the denizens of these newly created states, how would they lean? Would they tend to lean to the right, moderate, or would they tend to lean to the left? I have an idea. I'm curious what you think.
I have an idea. Are you asking me? You said no, not me.
No, now I'm asking you.
Oh, they're going to lean to the left.
I'm thinking. So that was, just like everything else, a way, a workaround to get around if we can't get the people to buy in on all of the trash that we want to push, then we will find a workaround. We'll find a roundabout way to get exactly what it is that we want.
Yep.
And so they were in the process of doing exactly that. I have a new phrase now. I started it this week.
Oh.
My thought is that I don't believe leftists will be happy until what I term all of the urban rat cages in America run by Democrats have all the curb appeal and cleanliness and effectiveness of downtown Mogadishu.
You know what? You know what's worse than that now is San Francisco and L.A. So we could actually use San Francisco and L.A., and it would be worse than that.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Exactly. San Francisco, for whatever reason, I haven't heard of an outpopping of noxious and terrible diseases that we managed to kill years ago
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, there's still disease and everything else.
Hundreds of years ago that are coming back, and diseases that we vaccinated for are coming back. Well, they're coming back over the border as well.
Yep.
Hep A, Hep C, typhoid, tuberculosis, all sorts of these lovely diseases. Polio, I fully expect to see some kind of a resurgence of polio that we completely eradicated in the 50s and 60s. I'm a child of the 50s, so I have my little polio vaccination scar, because when you got that in elementary school, you know, that you got the little round circle on your shoulder, and that's just what the vaccination did to you. Horrors if something like that happened to my poor little girl or boy today. Well, I'm still here after all these various vaccinations. Imagine that. Downtown Mogadishu.
Yeah.
San Francisco, L.A., Seattle, downtown Mogadishu. Not going to be happy until that happens.
Nope. And don't think just because it's in Los Angeles, California, that it can't spread, because everybody...
And that it ain't happening in a major city...
near you.
Right. Adjacent you in your state. Because you know what happens with Californians. Californians, and even Californians, are starting to flee San Francisco. Except for the uber wealthy, the incredible wealthy, who, you know, they're in high rises and they won't want to get their dainty little, you know, $500 sneakers have poo on them. So they either have helicopters or chauffeurs and garages.
I heard a fantastic idea, and I believe I can't take credit for this idea. I would love to, but I can't. I believe it was Rush Limbaugh that came up with the idea. Now, I don't listen to Rush a lot. And I had talk radio on in the background, and I heard it. So my disclaimer is this: I believe it was Rush Limbaugh that came up with the idea. If I'm wrong, I apologize.
But you're not sure. Okay.
I want to give credit to the proper person. I thought it was him. But he said, and I thought I had to sit and think about it for a little while. But the more I think about it, the more I actually agree. He said, if Donald Trump were to come to Los Angeles and San Francisco, and he actually campaigned in California, and he showed up on a regular basis. I don't know if it was a week or every other week or once a month or whatever it is, and he talked about nothing except solving and dealing with the homeless problem. Even the leftists in San Francisco and Los Angeles are so tired of it, the fact that nothing is being done by their elected officials, the fact that nobody is addressing these issues. His statement was he believes Donald Trump could carry California just on the homeless issue alone, because it is that big of a deal now.
It is a huge deal.
And I thought that was interesting. So the more I thought about it, and I kind of see I see skepticism
not
written across your face.
Not really.
But I want you to think about it, and think about the people that are fleeing those areas, and even the people that we know who tend to vote Democrat, tend to be more left-leaning, and how sick of this topic they are. And Donald Trump, being the businessman he is, if he came in and he spoke specifically about that problem and how to solve it and had an answer for it, and he was able to conduct himself, and if something else came up, he were able to deflect it and focus and talk and stay on point, on task, and deal just with that issue in California. I think the argument that he was making is that he thinks that's a winner in California. And the more I thought about it, and the more I hear stories from leftists, left-leaning outlets and organizations that are talking about and dealing with this homeless issue, the more I'm like, you know what? He may be right. I don't think Trump will do it, but he could be right.
When you're talking about that, one of the first things that I was thinking, and let me ask you the question as well. Do you have any form of confidence that in the remainder of 2019 or all of 2020, the Democrats have the least bit possibility of solving any kind, or even really addressing the homeless crisis? I think they are so entrenched in various, they're going through like Nazi-like purity tests now. You have to be so far left of the left. And if you're not that way, they drug Joe Biden now into that. Slow Joe Biden is now a massive leftist on abortion, immigration, you name it, because he saw the
within
writing
a matter
on
of weeks.
He saw the writing on the wall, and I believe that the left is so incredibly entrenched that there is no way in hell that they can solve the homeless problem.
They can't.
Because that's not in their wheelhouse. They don't have that capability.
No, they can't. I don't believe they can.
I don't believe they can
And
either.
I believe going so far to the left right now is really going to hurt.
It's a recipe for disaster.
I think it's going to hurt the Democratic Party. I really do. I think they're so far left. They're so far out of the mainstream. How interesting would it be if California's 54 electoral votes, whatever it is, went to like Bernie Sanders and just took that right out of the equation? Like just went to a total off the rails left-wing communist Marxist person. So let's say Joe Biden is the nominee. Let's just say, just say.
Sake of the argument, sure.
Sake of argument, let's say he's the nominee. And if he's the nominee, what if California's 54 electors all went and they pulled the big red handle for Bernie Sanders? There's nothing that prohibits them from doing that.
Oh, no.
The electors could vote for whoever they want.
Well, there are what did we say? There are 20 states now that have passed laws indicating that whoever wins the popular vote, all of their electors will go to that individual, completely eliminating the effectiveness, any efficacy whatsoever of the Electoral College. And that's the purpose, is to completely remove the Electoral College's effectiveness because of two incidents. There were two presidents that were elected behind the Electoral College. And just having two is more than what the left can tolerate.
Because they were both Republicans.
Because they were both Republicans. Bush, number 2, and OMB, Orange Man Bad, in 2016. Now the Electoral College has to be ripped out by the roots, which beggars this question. What the hell happens in 2020, Clint? Can you imagine this? What will the Democrats say if, for example, Trump gets the Electoral College, but then for whatever reason manages to trounce everyone in the popular vote? Is the next clarion call going to be, we want to go back to the Electoral College? The popular vote is crap.
No, because pure democracy is what they're looking for. But they're gonna say, you know what they're gonna do? Here's my prediction: this election was obviously rigged. We need to have an investigation. Because our feet on the ground are telling us there's no way that Donald Trump won the popular vote. There has to be some hinky stuff going on.
You know what I think? I think that...
Am I wrong?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I think what happened is that the 2 million popular votes that Clinton got...
They were all illegals.
...came out of mostly California.
Yes.
That they were illegals.
Yes.
Part of them behind the motor voter... Well, no, the motor voter was not completely... in effect just yet. But
it's only going to get worse now.
But it's only going to get worse because
you have
of the motor voter.
Hey, would you like to vote? Who would you like to vote for right now? Well, not only that, but ballot harvesting.
Ballot harvesting, oh my God,
in California,
yes.
Ballot harvesting is perfectly legal.
Folks, if you don't know what ballot harvesting is, it's essentially... Let's put it this way. Let me phrase it in terms of what's actually happening in the state of California. Not in some ideal purple-skied planet, some kind of utopia. In ballot harvesting, here's what's actually happening. You have a cadre of individuals who are going to the homes of folks and soliciting their ballots, knocking on the door.
Are you registered to vote?
Yeah, are you registered to vote?
No.
Wouldn't you like to vote for the Democrat Party? Oh, and you know, when you vote, because I see your ballot over there, I'll take it to the polls for you if you want. Just hand me your ballot.
Yep, I'll take that for you.
Yeah. I'd love to help you out with that. Ballot harvesting.
And it's
you don't
perfectly
have it,
legal.
Yeah, if you don't have it,
they can take that ballot down and put it in for you, and that vote will count.
Yeah,
right. No ID check. No. Have you already voted?
You can't check IDs.
That's just racist.
On.
That's racist. Why do you want to prevent people? They can't afford to. You know what? Here's how you solve that. Here's how you solve the ID thing because they can't go. You know what? for people who are indigent, who can't afford the $35 fee or whatever it is to get a driver's license or an identification card issued, waive the fee. Waive the fee. If you're indigent and you want an ID card, waive the fee. I'd be okay with that. Hey, California, are you listening? Let's put voter ID in place. And if your argument is, well, people can't drive to DMV, look at all the public transportation you put into play. That was your reason for public transportation, right? Well, they can't afford the bus. Don't you give them bus pass allowances every month and light rail and everything else? How about this? How about if you can't afford to drive or ride a bike or do anything else to go to DMV, submit an Uber receipt and let's reimburse them for that. I'm okay with that.
No, that's fine.
I'm okay with that.
Sure.
Hey, let's get them IDs. We can afford the $35 for the indigent people that can't afford it. Let's do it. We're flush with cash in this state. You just keep taxing the shit out of me. So let's get them IDs, and then you have no argument.
I played this a while ago. I don't know if you've heard this. You probably have, but since mentioning it, you have to realize that blacks are pretty ignorant when it comes in terms of voting. They have no idea where to go to get ID. They can't afford it. They don't know where the DMV is. They don't know where voter registration is.
See, I actually believe people are pretty intelligent, regardless of race.
Oh, no. If you're a leftist, you have to believe that
if you're a leftist,
blacks can't figure this out. Did you ever hear the thing by Amy Horowitz? Did you ever hear this? Let me play this for a second.
Horowitz, and I'm here in Berkeley, California, to find out
if
Berkeley. Voter ID laws suppress the black vote.
Do voter ID laws suppress the black vote? So this is Amy
Do you have an opinion
Horowitz.
on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and
This is a white
bad.
chick.
I think
Okay.
voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
White chick?
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
White
Do you
chick?
think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
White guy?
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been
White guy?
described or required.
These type of people don't live in
White guy?
areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for
White
certain
guy?
fees.
Do you think
Okay, I could just as easily, instead of saying white guy, white gal, white guy, I could just as easily say racist. This guy just said that blacks are stupid enough. They don't know how to get on the internet. They're morons. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Well, it's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how.
They don't have the knowledge. White girl? Oh, okay, that's right. Racist.
It works. A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data. For most of the communities, they
Right, blacks can't afford smartphones or data.
don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or
Right, blacks aren't aware. They have no idea what's going on. Good, racist.
they're not informed. I also think there's
They're not
a
informed.
repression of
Yeah.
black voting.
Okay, blacks, listen up. You are not informed. You are ignorant.
According to this.
How if you're a convicted felon, you're not allowed to vote and everything. And when you look at swing states like
Yeah.
Florida,
White chick.
that's a huge population of the African Americans.
Yeah, racist.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to
This is
ask black
great.
people their thoughts
This is
on what
great.
you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Black chick.
I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Black
Do
chick.
you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie.
Another black chick.
Say that.
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so we know
Black
what
guy.
we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID.
Another black
that's
guy.
one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know
Black
any
chick.
black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy cameras?
I know, right?
Black guy. Black
That's the
girl.
only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit
Black girl.
IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that, on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is, Ryan?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Would you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get the DMV?
Of course.
Okay, I wish I could play this because if I know I'm on video and I'll figure it out some way, but I wish I could put the video on there because all the white people on the earlier part of that, they're very serious. And all the black people in Harlem have this quizzical look on their faces.
What are you talking about?
What are you asking me this stupid damn question
know where
for?
it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
He's laughing.
That's just stupidity.
That's stupidity. Yeah.
Even a little kid can figure out how to work the internet.
I had access to the internet for years.
You know how to use it properly, right?
Exactly. I do it at work. So, of course, I know how to use it. My kids know how to use it. They all have iPads, iPods, whatever.
Your phone has data?
Mm-hmm.
You can actually
unlimited.
Unlimited data.
Mm-hmm. I use my phone as a hotspot.
What does that say to you for the people who have this perception of black people?
They're pretty much ignorant. That's why
Thank you.
thought process on it.
I just think that's ignorant. Ignorant.
Ignorant. That's the word I hear
very
a lot.
ignorant.
Ignorant.
Very, very ignorant.
Does it sound racist for somebody to say that?
I think it is a little racist because, you're putting people in a category and you have no idea what you're talking
Imagine that.
Maybe a little bit of racist in it, but like I said, I think it's more stupidity and ignorance.
You judging somebody, but you judging them because they black, saying that they don't got it.
What people are they talking to? Who are these people talking to?
Do you have a problem that if you go to vote and they say, can we please see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are? Are you
Love
cool?
showing my ID.
You have no problem with that?
Love showing
Would you
my
have a
ID.
problem if when you go to vote, if they say, can we please just see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are? Do you have an issue with that?
No.
Would you have a problem if there was a rule where you have to show your ID in order to vote?
I don't think so. No.
Would you have an issue if there was a rule saying you got to show your ID before you vote?
Nah.
You cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was it. Proving that all the white people at the beginning of this video in Berkeley are gaups, guilty, overeducated white people who are ignorant, bordering on racist. To think that black Americans are so damn stupid, they can't figure out how to get on the internet. They don't know where the DMV is. They don't know how to get ID. They don't have the money. They can't get they don't have a computer. They don't have a smartphone. Who are these assholes?
Berkeley students.
That think this, leftists.
Berkeley students.
Yeah.
By the way, the Alaskan one, thank you for linking the story I was talking about earlier. It was Rush Limbaugh who talked about Trump going to California. So thank you for finding that and proving that I was not necessarily crazy, at least in this one particular case.
No, because guaranteed California is not going to figure this out. California doesn't have the capability to figure it out.
No, but just from the aspect of he could carry California.
Oh.
Could you imagine if he went to L.A. and San Francisco and those voting populations?
And started cleaning stuff up because he started applying pressure to the mayors of those cities.
Or even just even just talking about the issue.
How can you let your citizens in these cities encounter these festering, pustule-ridden, terrible conditions?
Mm-hmm.
You must not give one crap about the people that you allegedly serve.
Oh, we know they don't.
Which means that you really do want your city, your urban rat cage, leftist-driven urban rat cage, to become another downtown Mogadishu. I can think of no other reason for that.
No, they want Mogadishu to become another downtown Los Angeles.
Maybe that's the best way
I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah.
Okay. You're right. I think that's it.
On that note,
I think we had a great show.
I thought we had a good show.
It's great to see you back.
It's great to be back.
Apparently
people like having me back. We talked for an hour and 18 minutes with no content.
Well, that's part and parcel of freeform freestyle radio, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Doing whatever the hell we feel like doing whenever we feel like doing it.
It is. I'll be back next week.
Promise?
I promise, but not the week after.
Oh, okay.
They're sending me away again for the week after. But then I'll be back the week after that. So I'll be missing one more week.
Okay. All right.
One more week.
Back next week.
Back next week.
Gone the week after.
Gone the week after.
And then back again. Okay. All right.
Back again.
Okay. Jim Horn on tomorrow night.
Maybe Sean can fill in for me that last week.
I don't know.
I'd like to do one more show with all of us.
I would. I think it'd be great. Good night, folks.
Good night. Thanks for listening.